I started my career in Navy submarines, so I kind of did the depths of the oceans. I went into the power industry as an engineer for about 20 years, working for a boss. Then I met this gentleman, David Mitchell, fourth generation oil man, owned multiple businesses, taught stock trading. He was a pastor, and he taught me how to trade stocks so I could literally fire my boss. I found myself part-time making more money trading stocks than I was working 70, 80 hours a week for
Wow.
the boss. So I said, you know what? I'm going to quit. And I have an amazingly supportive wife. Phenomenal. I said, hey, I think I'm going to quit my job and spend everything we have in our retirement on these Navy submarine technologies that I made 20 years ago. Well, it was back in the day, the computers would have filled a room, and now, you know, we can put them in the device I made. So I'm like, I'm going to do that. And I spent 2 years developing that technology for the Navy, building up my company. And when I needed software help, I went to these rocket scientists, and they helped write the code and machine some of the parts we needed for that device. Unfortunately, the Navy took the technology and gave it to a big prime to develop. So it's kind of a bummer, but just as that was happening, John Carmack, you might know him, video gamer, came up with all the first person shooter stuff. Call of Duty was, you know, he did all the back end for that. Well, he had a hobby. And for 15 years, he was building lunar landers. I mean, they won round one of the Google X Prize Challenge for lunar lander development. They sold the lunar lander to NASA. They put rockets or rocket engines on the back of aircraft, and a couple of them flew together in the Tulsa Air Show. And the prime contractor couldn't do it in 3 years. And this team did it in a matter of 3 months. They actually built entire propulsion systems, put them on these rockets. So they have rocket planes. And the company he had, which everybody's familiar with, id Software, had gone public. He lost control of it. So he went to work for Oculus as their chief technology officer. And then they were bought out by Facebook for $2 billion. And as I understand it, he basically got golden handcuffs, and they said, we don't want you working on rockets anymore. We don't want you distracted. We want you doing our 3D gaming headsets and, you know, working that technology. So he agreed, okay. So he put the company into hibernation mode. And that was just about the time that these guys were finishing up my submarine technologies. And I started on a business plan. And I went to my buddy, David Mitchell, and I said, hey, David, you gotta come up to the airport. I got a museum to show you. And some guys I really want you to meet. So I brought him up to the airport, and you walk in, and it's literally hundreds of rocket engines and things they've made, and, you know, lunar landers. And our CTO is an amazing guy. He actually rode on one of those lunar landers on Earth, of course, but he rode on it, actually strapped a chair on. So he did the vertical takeoff, vertical launch on one of those years before SpaceX was even around. And he looked at it and he was amazed, and he calls me on his way back to Corsicana. He says, hey, we can't let these guys stop. We've got to figure out how to help them. I said, yeah, look at your inbox when you get home. I've already emailed you the business plan. I've been working on it for like 3 months, right? Putting this all together, set this all up. He was like, oh, okay. So he called me back and he said, this is amazing. We need to buy the assets, and we need to help these guys get back to space. Because the way they're going right now, they just started running a machine company. And it was going to take too long, and that competitive advantage they had of having flown reusable rockets was just amazing. So we didn't do it with the billions that SpaceX and Blue Origin had. We did it with millions, small team, total of about 20. And we're one of 4 companies in the world who have flown a reusable rocket, in our case, 4 times.